So we said alpha plus beta is negative b over a. That's what we found. Alpha plus beta is negative b over a. This is the sum. So before you start answering this question, so the question is here, the roots of the equation 3x squared minus 8x plus 2 is equals to 0. Is equals to 0. We get a as 3, b as negative 8, and c as 2. So if we want the sum alpha plus beta, it's negative b, which is negative 8 over a is 3. So it means the sum is negative, negative, positive. So the sum is 8 over 3. Then we can also get the product, which is alpha times beta. Alpha times beta, we said it's c over a. So that's the product. So then we'll get c over a. C is 2. So we have 2 over our a is 3. And that will give us the product as alpha beta equals 2 over 3. Alpha beta is 2 over 3. Alpha beta is 2 over 3. So when we have the product and the sum, we can now answer the questions that have been asked. So let's keep the product and the sum. So alpha plus beta, we found it to be 8 over 3. So we keep that. Then alpha times beta is 2 over 3. Then now we can answer the questions that have been asked. So the questions asked. So the questions now, after you found the sum, you go and attend to the questions that have been asked. So the questions that have been asked are, the first question is 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta. So they want you to find the value of 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta. What you do is you say over, you make it as a single fraction. So the common denominator is the multiplication of the two denominators, alpha times beta. Then we say 1 alpha into alpha beta, it's beta times 1. So that will give us beta plus alpha. And what we have is alpha plus beta in the numerator over alpha beta. Okay. Any questions? If you have a question, you can raise your hands. Okay, then we substitute alpha plus beta. We found 8 over 3. So we just substitute 8 over 3. Divide alpha times beta. We've already computed, that is 2 over 3. And that will give us 8 over 3. 2 over 3, the 3 and the 3 will cancel. Then 8 divided 2, that gives us 4. So it means alpha plus beta over alpha beta is actually just 4. Any questions? That's how you compute that guy. That's how you compute that guy. Okay. Okay. So if there are no questions on the same question, there is a second question. So I'll go to the second question. So I'm delaying a bit so that those that are writing can copy. Okay, so there is a hand. Okay, so there is a hand. Who is that with a hand up? So you can unmute and ask the question.
Sir, do you mind starting all over from the top? Because I didn't quite where you were getting the formulas that you're getting.
Did you attend today's lesson?
Yes, I did, but I'm not understanding, is what I'm saying.
You are not understanding. Okay, where is the problem?
Um, like when you did this, you got alpha plus beta, and then this
Alpha.
whole part when you start substituting values, I get when you add a plus alpha plus beta, but then what I don't understand is when you start substituting values. Thank you.
Okay. So, is there anyone who has not understood apart from her? Oh, okay. Okay, so I'll explain better on the next question. You'll get the concept. You will get the concept. Okay. So let's move forward. She'll get the concept. So she has understood on the alpha plus beta because that we learned. So the issue is on the substitution. On this 8 over 3 and 2 over 3 on the sum, remember I told you to say sum of two roots is alpha plus beta because the two roots of the equation are alpha and beta, and we said this is given by minus b over a, the sum. So from the equation, what we have as the value of a, this is the equation. In case you are behind, the equation we are talking about is this quadratic equation. 3x squared minus 8x plus 2. A is the value that is attached to x squared, which is 3. B is the value that is attached to x, that is minus 8. And C is the value that is a constant alone, not attached to any variable. Okay? Then the next thing that you do is find the sum. And the sum we said, before you start answering the questions we are answering are these two. But before we do that, we need to find the sum and the product in advance. Before anything, as long as you see such kind of equation, the first thing that you do is find the sum and the product of their roots. So we substitute minus our b is negative 8. Of course, there is a negative outside. In the formula, there is negative b, but our b is negative 8 as well. However, our a there is 3. Then simplifying this, negative, that gives us positive 8 over 3. And that's our sum alpha plus beta. Alpha plus beta. That's how you get the sum. Then you get the product. I think you should tell your friends that I've stopped admitting. You're disturbing. Product is alpha times beta. And I told you before I just left to say the product is C over A. The product is C over A. So we just get C is 2. we replace C as 2 over A is 3 over 3. So we have 2 over 3 and 8 over 3 as product and sum respectively. Young lady, you can mute your mic, unmute your mic and say if you are happy. Confirm if you are happy up to that stage. Okay. So the assumption is she is happy. She is happy. That will be the assumption. Okay, so let's now go to the question. So I've explained how to get the product and the sum. And I've mentioned it, as long as the question is asking you to do that, you have to always begin with the sum and the product. Yes, the one that's using Zoom, you can ask the question. I've seen your hand is up. Okay, so that's how you get there, that. Then I'll repeat the question. So the question is here. In case you just, okay, so the question is here to say this is the quadratic, alpha and beta are the roots, find the values of A. So the A, they are saying find the values of 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta. So for you to find this, you need to simplify it so that you have something like alpha plus beta, alpha times beta, because you only know the sum and the product. So there is no other way you can find the solution to this. You need to simplify. So to simplify this, you make it as a single fraction. So you get alpha and beta. Then you say alpha into alpha beta, you get beta. So beta times this one, you make it as a single fraction, you get beta. Then beta into alpha beta, you get alpha times 1, you get alpha. So what you have in the numerator, this is the sum, alpha plus beta. So alpha plus beta, you have the value, it's 8 over 3. So these two, alpha plus beta, it's 8 over 3. So you replace alpha plus beta with 8 over 3, like that. Then in the denominator, you replace alpha times beta with 2 over 3. Then as a person who's doing mathematics, you should know the basics of multiplication. If you are dividing two numbers, the denominator cancels with the denominator. If you want, let's do it the grade 8 way. 8 over 3 is the same as times, so you swap these two. 3 goes in the numerator, so 3 goes in the numerator over 2 goes in the denominator. Then 3 and 3 cancels. That's why the 3 is cancelling. Then you are going to have 8 over 2, and 8 divided 2 gives you 4. And that's why we are saying the solution to this 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta is just simply 4. Young lady, you can confirm is if you are happy. Young lady, are you happy? Okay. She has confirmed that she is happy, and I assume that everybody is happy. Okay, those that are not happy, we shall make you happy next time. Let's go to the next question. We don't have the whole night. Okay, so we've done 1 plus alpha over 1 plus that. And the next guy that we'll do is It's okay. The network is not always supposed to be perfect. For some, they will need to perish. It's not everyone who is going to be saved. So B is alpha squared plus beta squared, like that. So now, as a student, wherever you see alpha squared plus beta squared, what should come in your mind is the expansion of alpha plus beta, alpha plus beta, alpha plus beta. So for you to get alpha, so get this, I want to deduce this. So I'll get alpha plus beta, square it, then expand that. So to expand alpha plus beta, you expand it in this way, alpha plus beta multiplying with alpha plus beta. Then when you multiply those two, you get alpha times alpha, you get alpha squared. Alpha times beta, you get plus alpha beta. Then beta times alpha, you get alpha beta. Then beta times beta, you get beta squared, like that. On this side, not forgetting what we have is alpha plus beta enclosed in brackets. Now the target is we want to make alpha beta squared subject of the formula. Let me even use a different ink. Let me use a different ink. Have given you up to this stage, we want to deduce this. So what we do is we need to get alpha plus beta. It's always like that. Alpha plus beta, you square it. And when we square it, it means we are multiplying these two. Then we multiply these two. We want alpha squared and beta squared to remain alone because the question wants us to find this. So I'll go this side, bearing in mind, so I'll come this side, alpha plus beta, of course that is squared, then I'll bring this and that guy on one side. So these two, by the way, when you add them, they will give you 2 alpha beta because these two are the same. So these 2 alpha plus beta, you will take them on the other side, they become minus 2 alpha beta. Then equals, we have remained on the right hand side with alpha squared plus beta squared. I don't want you to do this, but I want you to know this. So what is it that I want you to know? What is it that I want you to know? What I want you to know is that alpha squared plus beta squared is equals to, so this one you have to know it by heart if you can't deduce it the way I've done it. So alpha squared plus beta squared, all of you should know that this is alpha plus beta squared minus 2 alpha times beta. So all of you should know this. Those that want to know how to deduce, I've just done that. But for those that are lazy and don't want to deduce, you should know that alpha squared plus beta squared is equals to alpha plus beta squared, then minus 2 alpha beta squared. Then we can just now substitute. We want alpha squared plus beta squared. Alpha plus beta, we already computed that is that 8 over 3. But we enclose that in bracket because it's squared, so we say squared minus 2 alpha times beta, we computed that as 2 over 3. And the rest is just now simple mathematics. The mathematics that is simple. Okay. So the mathematics that's simple, 8 squared, you get 64. 3 squared, you get over 9. 2 times 3, you get minus 4 over 3. Then you make it as a single fraction, so I'll go on top. You make it as a single fraction, like that. So 9 in the denominator, then 9 into 9, that's 1, times 64, that will be 64, minus 3 into 9, that's 3 times 4, that is 12. Then we are going up, so that will be 64 minus 12, that should be 52 over 9. Can 3 go into 52? Definitely 3 can go into 52 with a remainder. So it cannot go without leaving a remainder. It will definitely leave a remainder in 52. So it means our answer is 52 over 9. That is our alpha squared plus beta squared. Yes, Taonga, ask the question. Okay, so let's hear from Taonga. Taonga, you can mute your mic. You can unmute your mic and ask the question.
Yes, I'm a bit confused here on number 2. I don't know, this looks like a squared plus b squared, but you're saying it's alpha squared and beta squared. I don't know,
Yes,
the symbol for alpha and beta is different from a squared and b squared.
exactly. So I'm telling you that the author, the one that was typing, it was typing here, it's supposed to be alpha squared plus beta squared. So I've told you it's not A plus B.
Okay.
It's alpha
Right.
plus beta squared.
All right, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. You can mute your mic now and allow Mianda to ask a question. Yes, Mr. Mianda, sir.
Sir, my question is alpha squared plus beta squared. Why can't we just fuse them in, like we just get our alpha and put it there, we square it plus our beta and put it there and square it? Why is it wrong?
It is very wrong because we don't do that. What I've taught you is how you do it. Thank you. You can mute your mic, sir. Okay. So that's how you do that. That's how you do that. I will not be responsible for any loss of marks. So C, D will be your own exercise. I will do C. D will do it yourself and E will do it yourself. Me, I will do C. Let me do C for the last time, then we'll go to inequalities. Then we have 1 over alpha squared plus 1 over beta squared. So as per tradition, we said you make it as a single fraction. So this guy as a single fraction, alpha squared beta squared is the common denominator. Then the numerator will turn out to be beta squared because alpha squared and alpha squared cancels. So you get beta squared plus alpha squared. And this numerator is what I'm from teaching, alpha squared plus beta squared. I said alpha squared plus beta squared is just simply alpha plus beta squared minus 2 alpha beta over this one alpha squared beta squared. You can write it just like that, alpha beta, then put in bracket and square outside because both are squared, so you can just say it's the product being squared. Then you can substitute your values. Alpha plus beta, we found alpha plus beta as 8 over 3. Of course, it's squared here, minus 2 alpha beta, we found as 2 over 3. Then over alpha times beta, we found it as 2 over 3. squared. I'm not a pioneer of starting to solve for you, but we are from solving the numerator. So what was the answer that we got in the previous question? Anyone? Just raise your hand so that I can point you give us the answer. The numerator, we don't waste time. That was 64 minus, that was 52. Okay, we found 52 over 9. Yes, so our numerator is 52 over 9, then over, that will be 4 over 9. Then the 9 and the 9 cancels, then that will be 52 over 4. Then 4 can go into 52. How many times? 13, huh? So the answer there is 13. So 4 can go into 52, 13. So the answer for this guy is 13. So this is equals to 13. Any questions? Okay. Okay, so the rest you figure them out. One question is there in the test on the same items, and I've taught I won't be held responsible in case you didn't get what we are doing. These are the solutions. I shared the notes, so you can go through anytime. And the good part is, even those I've said, you can go through them as you can see. Wonderful. Wonderful. You guys are geniuses. Then let's solve this equation. So this one, we'll solve it using any method. But what we need to bear in mind is we are dealing with quadratic. We are dealing with quadratic. So I'll teach you just for the sake, so I can dribble you. Bring a quadratic in a special way. So this is the question, solve this. This is quadratic. So the question is x raised to the power 2 over 3 plus x raised to the power 1 over 3 minus 6 equals 0. So how do you know that this is quadratic? Remember, we started with those things were not useless. Indices. Those were not useless. So we started with, so you can rewrite this as x to the power 1 over 3. And close in bracket, put the power 2 outside there.